So you guys are 21 years old and we're about 6. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't really be alone with you. Or when you come close to me, I actually move away. Or when you lean over me, I actually lean backwards. Maybe she's got some kind of like personal problems or been through some trauma or something. Just not very inviting. Well, it is an attack, isn't it? If I don't eat sugars and you do, I'm saying that I don't eat sugar because the sugar's bad for you and you eat it. You're not as good as I am. You're not as healthy as I am because I don't eat sugar. I'm covering my hair because that's my personal body. I'm covering my cleavage because that's my personal body. You're showing yours. You're not as modest as me. How is it possible that a Muslim woman can feel comfortable with that? It's illegal for her. It goes against everything she believes in and everything she's raised doing. Should she go and take an acting degree first? Should she go to drama school so she can pretend that she's really good socially? Is it prerequisite for her to be a good actor in order to have equal opportunities in a workplace? Assalamu alaikum guys, what's going on? My name is Sufyan and welcome back to the channel. Are Muslim women socially behind their female counterparts? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. So in today's video, we are going to discuss why Muslim women appear to be socially behind their female counterparts. Now we're going to explore this in relation to Muslim women's outcomes and opportunities in the workplace. Okay, so this is a conversation which pertains to the employment world, the official suit and tie world. Are there a lack of opportunities being presented or offered to Muslim women? Are there any discrepancies around pay between Muslim women and other women? And if so, what is the reason? Is it because of a social difference, or is it just plain and simple good old-fashioned discrimination, xenophobia, racism? So that's where the conversation is kind of focused today. Now, hands up, this claim that Muslim women appear to be socially behind is my claim. This is my claim. This is an observation that I have made, and this is something that I'm actually putting forward. Now, yes, I know there is discrimination in the workplace. I know there is xenophobia in the workplace. I know there is racism in the workplace. This is undoubtable, undeniable. But is there something else at play? Now, what qualifies me to have an opinion on all of this? For those who are new to the channel, for those who are not new and just don't know, I am a head teacher. I have been a head teacher for the past 6 or 7 years and have worked in the education sector and have worked in the education sector from the age of 21. And this is an observation that I have made just from my experience in the working world. It's something that's always kind of stuck out to me. It's something I've always had this viewpoint. And as I progressed to the position that I am in now, it's just become ever more apparent. So my whole take on this situation is that there is a missed conversation. There is a missed conversation, and that missed conversation is centered around lived experience. The lived experience of Muslim women and the lack of knowledge of the lived experience from the non-Muslims or those outside of Islam. Now, again, I'm going to apologize for grouping or everyone that's not a Muslim as being a non-Muslim. I understand why people can take that offensively, but for the sake of the video, please allow me. So as I mentioned, this is something that I've experienced kind of firsthand, and I've always had this take on the situation that there just seems to be a missed conversation and something going on here, a little je ne sais quoi, and it's a social difference which stems from a lack of knowledge around the lived experience that Muslim women have, or Muslims in general. So the bulk of this video is going to be speaking about this lived experience, okay, my take on this situation. But as always, let us start with the data. Now, I'm going to share some personal experiences, some personal stories from women that I have worked with and work with, and I really would like you guys to share your stories in the comment section as well. But as always, let's start with the data. We will get there. Now, in last week's video, people started jumping on me, source. Everybody wanted a source for the data that I was quoting or that I was referencing, okay? So today, I will give you sources, okay? You're making my job long, man. You're making the videos long. But if I'm going to make claims, I guess that I should tell you where those claims are coming from, instead of just saying trust me, bro. And then hopefully over time, when I can no longer be bothered, although it is good practice to reference the source, maybe you'll trust me, bro. So let me share some data with you guys, okay? Muslim women, especially those who wear the hijab or have visible markers of their faith, often report experiencing higher levels of discrimination compared to other minority groups. A 2017 study from the Women and Equalities Committee found that Muslim women in the UK were more likely to experience discrimination in recruitment compared to their non-Muslim counterparts. Okay, another one. According to the Equality and Human Rights Commission, the EHRC report from 2018, Muslim women are more likely to be unemployed compared to both Muslim men and non-Muslim women. This disparity can partly be attributed to biases in hiring practices and the stigma attached to Muslim women in certain industries, especially in the private sector. Sources, all right? A report by the Young Women's Trust in 2019 highlighted that Muslim women face barriers to career progression that are not only tied to gender, but also to religion and ethnicity. In particular, women from Muslim backgrounds report feeling overlooked for promotions, even when they are qualified, due to stereotypes about their capability or their religious practices. Another one, research from the Institute of Race Relations and Runnymede Trust, has pointed to cultural stereotypes of Muslim women as being passive, oppressed, or culturally conservative. This is important, okay? Pay attention to this, because I'm going to come back to this in the main body of what I'm saying. These stereotypes contribute to biases in the workplace, limiting opportunities for leadership roles or career advancement. We'll just do two more. Research by the Fawcett Society has pointed to a significant pay gap between Muslim women and other women in the UK. Check this out. Muslim women often earn less than their counterparts, with this gap widening in comparison to non-Muslim women of the same ethnic background. Very interesting, okay? Very interesting. And the last one here, certain sectors, especially in professional services or managerial roles, may have fewer Muslim women in leadership positions. Studies indicate that Muslim women in these fields often face subtle biases. And this, again, subtle biases, okay? We will come back to this. Subtle biases. These little je ne sais quoi, I don't really know how to explain it, but anyway, they face subtle biases or are passed over for promotions, particularly in environments that may not be culturally diverse or inclusive. Did I cite enough sources? Where's the source for that, bro? There's your sources, all right? Some saucy sources, all right? So that's the data. And a lot of this data spoke about how people feel, okay? We referenced subtle biases. We spoke about discrimination, which people can't really put their finger on. I'm a Muslim. I have Muslim females in my family. I'm married. My wife's a Muslim. My mother's a Muslim. My sister's Muslim. All in the working professional world. And obviously, I'm from a black Asian background. We know discrimination, okay? We know what it feels like. When we see it, we just know it, okay? We can feel it and we can't always explain it. It's one of the harder things in life to explain what racism is, or how racism is, or how you know people who discriminate you, or how you felt left out. It's just one of those harder things, but we've probably all experienced it. However, and here is my the main body of my conversation. Here it comes, yeah. I'm going to make the bold claim, that not all of these differences are due to discrimination. They might stem from cultural differences, but they're not all due to discrimination. These are not active discriminatory behaviors. Now, the missed conversation. I'm calling this topic the missed conversation. Get a little edit coming in. The missed conversation. Earlier in this video, I apologized for grouping everybody that is not Muslim as a non-Muslim. So it is very clear to those watching that I'm sensitive to these little things, okay? I believe that we are all equal. So please have that as your baseline, okay? My message to those outside of Islam, the non-Muslims, we bleed the same blood. We cry the same tears. We love the same love, but we are not the same. We are not the same. You heard the saying, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, because women wear bras and men think with their genius. Something like that, right? We are not the same. We are from opposite sides of this whole planetary universal system. We're not the same because of our lived experience, okay? From birth, our lived experiences, especially in the West, we are chalk and cheese. You couldn't be further away from each other. Yes, we do many things similar, but our lived experiences are at opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, for those watching, everybody's heard of the word halal. You go to the meat shop, you say halal written, you know, the little fancy Arabic writing, halal. Everybody knows what halal is. Halal simply means permissible. If food is halal, it is permissible for us to eat. The opposite of halal, anybody? The opposite of halal is haram. Haram simply means impermissible. But for the sake of this exercise here, we are going to get rid of those two words, okay? We are going to trade the word permissible, halal, with legal, although we're not going to use this word too much right now. And we are going to trade the word haram, impermissible, with the word illegal, okay? So when I say illegal, I mean haram. So if something is haram, for the sake of this conversation, and it's true, this is a fact of the matter, it is illegal for us to do. It is against our law, okay? The law, which comes from God, which comes from our holy scriptures, things which transgress that are illegal. Now I'm going to speak about some things which are normal to those in the West, growing up, extremely normal, and for Muslims, these things are illegal. They are illegal. They are punishable. They are against the law. Okay? And hopefully this will paint quite a good picture for people. So 60% of the population, obviously the non-Muslim population in the UK, are born to marriage. Okay? So 60% of children that are born in the UK are born to married parents. That means 40% are not born to married parents. Prior to those two people getting married, they have been in a relationship for 4 or 5 years. They happen to be in their 30s. This is on average, yeah, this is the majority of people. And they have been in 2 or 3 previous relationships. Now watch the last video if you want to see all of the stats there. I laid it out plain and simple. Even when children are born, the 60% figure are born to married parents, would you disagree that those two parents have been dating prior? They probably had sex already before marriage. They were probably cohabiting. They probably had previous relationships. So 60% are born to marriage, but within that already, there is dating, there is sex, there are relationships. Marriage is just kind of like, okay, we'll get married before we had kids kind of thing. Now, there is no data to suggest that a single, here in the UK, that a single Muslim child is born outside of marriage. Now, obviously that isn't true. Why is there no data? Maybe we're a bit embarrassed. There's not enough data to kind of make it a thing, right? So let's say that it does happen, obviously, but let's say that upwards of 90%, and I'll say upwards of 95% of Muslims are born into marriage, okay? Now, the reason that we're not born outside of marriage is because that is illegal, okay? It is illegal for two people to have a child outside of marriage. It is illegal, okay? We don't do that. We can't do that. And if we do that, we've made a mistake. We've made a mistake, and we have to do our best to rectify it and get married and stuff. So it does happen, but it is illegal. Not only is it illegal to do that, but to be in a relationship prior to that for the 3, 4, 5 years where we're cohabiting and having sex and dating and all of that, that is illegal. Our only way into a relationship is marriage. Our only way, legal way into having kids and families is marriage. And there are a million barriers up to prevent the alternative from happening. I'm just going to say you guys and us guys sometimes. Now, you guys, us guys, you guys, us guys, you know I love you all, but let me just make it clear. You guys and us guys, okay? I'm saying this for emphasis, okay? It sounds so harsh, but say it with your chest, Sophie, yeah? You didn't grow this chest for no reason. Now, for the non-Muslim child, growing up, it is a normal experience that your uncle, your aunties, your brother, they might have girlfriends, they might have boyfriends. Uncle such and such is coming over with his new girlfriend and they come over for tea. Or your mum's dating this new guy because she broke up with the dad and that her boyfriend's coming and staying over. Or your elder brother or your elder sister have their boyfriend or girlfriend coming to stay over. And these kind of relationships here, they're just normal for the non-Muslim child to experience. Such and such has a boyfriend, such and such has a girlfriend, such and such comes over to the house, girlfriend, boyfriend, or you can say, oh, his partner or his love interest, whatever it is. These relationships are very, very normal for you guys, okay? For us, that is illegal. There are no instances at all in our family lives of uncle, auntie coming over with their boyfriend or girlfriend. It's never happened, okay? No one came to the house with their boyfriend or girlfriend. None of our brothers or sisters brought their girlfriend or boyfriend to the house and stayed over for the night, or went to this family function and brought their boyfriends or girlfriend. None, not ever at all. As a matter of fact, at our family functions, every single adult, male and female, they're either single or they're married. Okay? When we everybody that we mix with and interact with from Islam, who are Muslims, obviously, they are single or they are married. There is no in between. So we don't see this normalizing of relationships coming in and out of our lives because it is illegal. That is illegal to us. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me give you a personal story right now. Growing up, obviously, my dad is a revert. So my dad embraced Islam before marrying my mum. I don't think he embraced Islam to marry my mum. He embraced Islam before marrying my mum, married my mum, but had 2 previous kids. My elder brother and elder sister are not Muslim. They're from my dad's previous relationship. Also, my dad's side of the family, only my dad's mother embraced Islam and the rest of them are not Muslim. My elder sister has children with a Muslim man. So my niece and nephew are Muslim, practicing Muslims as well, and their dad is a Muslim. But my elder sister and the man, they were never married. The relationship that them two were in was illegal. So growing up, yes, my niece and nephew were born and my sister was happy to come in and out of the house. But the man was never allowed in our house. He's not allowed in our house because we don't acknowledge that type of relationship. You guys might think it's weird, but for us it's illegal and we don't let illegal things in the house. The same way you can't have alcohol at our places or we can't take guns into your pot or whatever it is, it's illegal for us. So there is no acknowledgement of that relationship. We know it happened, but we don't put our family around it. We don't put our kids around it. Now, obviously, an uncomfortable thing for my dad to experience and go through, but that was the rule. When my cousins, my non-Muslim cousins had girlfriends and were in relationships, they were never allowed to the house. Never allowed in the house. Even at this age now, we've had family marriages where the families are getting married and certain people have asked whether they can bring their partners, obviously not married, but their partners to the ceremonies. And we've said no. That's just a normal thing. Why? Because the relationship is not permissible to us. You're bringing alcohol into the party, basically. You're bringing illegal things into the party, and we don't put the illegal things around our family. Anyway, that was a personal story. So it's illegal, okay? So we don't have any acknowledgement of that at all. We don't see it. We don't access it. It's just it never happens, okay? Now, dress code. If you look at the Muslim kids and the non-Muslim kids that go to school, they dress distinctively different. So the non-Muslim girls that go to school, and I don't think uniform should be what it is anyway, but that's a totally different conversation. I don't know why you're sending your girls to school with little tiny shorts, and that's weird to me. But you'll see that the uniform which is observed by the non-Muslim girls, like the skirts with the legs out or the shorter skirt with the legs out, Muslim girls, our Muslim daughters, do not dress like that. They will wear the leggings underneath or the longer skirt or the trousers. Why? Because dressing like that for us is illegal. Okay? It is illegal. We're not allowed to do it. Our Muslim women are not allowed to dress like that. It is illegal. If you go then to aunties and uncles and friends and families and stuff like that, right? Listen to this. I don't even know if you guys know this. So when we go to our auntie's house, or when we go to I'm talking Muslims now, when we go to our auntie's house or our cousin's house or our family friend's house, we never ever ever see women walking around with their cleavage out. We don't see it. Everything is up to here. These vest tops and cleavage and legs out. We have never seen our cousins, elder cousins, or our elder aunties, we've never seen them in that type of attire ever. Even at weddings, we do not see, and this is like our dress up events, right? Whether you're from Asian background, Arab background, it doesn't matter. When the men and the women mix together, these men have never seen cleavage. The young boys, we don't see the cleavage of our aunties or our elder cousins. And when I say aunties, it's like, you know, like a cultural auntie. It's not just your mum's sisters and that, but every elder woman, you call them auntie, innit? And all of the cousins or the family friends. We don't see cleavage. We don't see legs out. That is not our attire, because for us, that is illegal. Now, it is normal for the non-Muslim family, and I'm not criticizing at all. I'm talking about a difference in what we experience. It is normal for the non-Muslim woman or the non-Muslim family to go to the wedding and, you know, you put on your nice dress, you put on your little dinner dress or your cocktail dress, a bit of cleavage out because, you know, that looks nice and you feel whatever you feel. Everybody can kind of see you dressed up for the event. You're like, oh my gosh, look, you look so much different than you do normally. It's even normal for, if you were visiting the family house, for the men to go and, like, I don't know, say like somebody goes to see their brother and their brother's wife is there or their brother's girlfriend is there or whoever it is, and it's normal for that person, just because they're at home, to be walking around in a shorts and t-shirt. I'm talking about the girl. It's normal for the girl of, let's say I go to visit, I say I'm not Muslim, and I go to visit my big brother, and my big brother's girlfriend's in the house, or my big brother's wife's in the house, or whatever. It's normal if I've just gone to the house and she's just walking around in shorts and a vest. That's just normal. In our settings, we don't see anything. As a matter of fact, like I was just saying, let me tell you this. When we have social events, so let's say, growing up, for instance, my family, my dad and my mum and the kids, another family would come over, or another two families would come over to visit. In our settings, in our houses, the women chill with the women and the men chill with the men. So the men go and chill in one room and the women go and chill in the other room. Is that what happens in your household? Maybe not like your brother and his wife, but when you've got like all of the friends come over, do the girls just chill with the girls and the guys just chill with the guys? And when I say that the girls chill with the guys and the guys and the girls chill with the girls and the guys chill with the guys, there is no crossover. It's not like, yeah, they go and sit in their room and then, we'll just pass by and they go in the kitchen together and we make ourselves a meal. No. There is no crossover. The guys have the food in the guys' room. The girls have the food in the girls' room. And when the man wants to tell his wife to go, he sends the kid in to knock on the door to say, listen, daddy said he wants to go now. The man doesn't come to the door. Because if the man came to the door and knocked on the door, is he going to see somebody with their head out, with their headscarf off? If they don't wear a headscarf, is he going to see someone with their chest out, with their arms out? Even if he doesn't see that, he can't walk in onto that because that is their female private zone. We are encouraged to lower our gaze, and maybe we don't do it out in society, but in that setting there, we can't even set eyes upon the women. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Are you getting the point that I'm making? Think about alcohol now. Alcohol at social events. For the non-Muslim, it is normal for you guys to drink alcohol at your public events, or maybe at like a little social gathering at the house or whatever. A little bit of alcohol takes the edge off, your inhibitions all affected. Let's say it's a wedding, for instance. Everyone gets a little more bubbly. Everybody gets a little more loose. It would be normal for my wife to maybe dance with my brother and me to dance with my brother's wife because, we're just bonding and da-da-da. Are you mad? For me to touch my brother's wife is illegal. Okay? For my brother to touch my wife is totally illegal. It can't happen. It doesn't happen. Never mind, alcohol within itself is illegal anyway. For you guys, it's only illegal for under 18s. It's like, what? You sold it to an under 18-year-old? How disgusting. For us, it's illegal all around. We don't touch that. Okay? We know that some of the man them do touch it because they're on some madness. But we don't touch that. It is illegal. Now just think about everything now. From birth, and how old are we? Let's say that's like up to 11 years old. Up to 11 years old, there is already so much lived experience that non-Muslims are having compared to Muslims. You guys are totally comfortable mingling, interacting with the opposite sex, and having like comfortability around certain types of dress codes or certain types of interactions, and seeing your mum take she got a bit tipsy and she had a little dance, and she was dancing the table and she was being a bit but it's okay, yeah, that was just a party, she's not normally like that. We don't see anything like that at all. The crossing over from the male to the female, although you get cousins playing with each other and things like that, the crossing over or us interacting with the opposite sex in an unrestricted type of way. Oh, sorry, did I mention, even at weddings, when we have weddings on our social functions, it is normal for the families sometimes will sit at the family table, so you'll see families sat there together, but it's even normal for the women to sit with the women and the men to sit with the men. Okay, even at weddings. So there's segregation practice even at weddings. Okay, so sorry, I was saying, can you see how we are totally, and it's not starved, it's not like we're starved of this interaction and why are you looking at it like that? We don't believe in interacting with the opposite sex like that. We don't have lowered guards around the opposite sex like that. It's just not in our culture at all. It's not in our lived experience. We don't experience it at all. Okay, that's just up until like 11 years old. Now let me fast forward and speak a bit quicker. Okay, you go to high school, we tend to send our Muslim boys to boys' schools, okay? And we tend to send our girls to girls' schools. But sometimes that can't happen because of, social factors, catchment areas, whatever. So then I explained about the dress code. But really, there are still restrictions in place about what time such and such is coming home and who's your friend. And we've got control over the social media and how people are using it and everything. So even in school, if they did go to not single-sex schools, there's limited interaction with the opposite sex in terms of how far you can explore that, okay? College, at 16 years old, is the first time, although we still have single-sex colleges, is the first time in which most of our boys and girls have somewhat unrestricted access to the opposite sex at 16 years old. And we still have boundaries in on our daughters and sons, okay? We still have restrictions in. You've still got curfew, we still got your phone, we still got things like this, whatever it is, yeah? But at university, really at university, at 18 years old, this is the first time that there are no restrictions whatsoever. This is the first time that our Muslim women fully interact or have unrestricted access to the opposite sex at 18 years old. Now, they've had glimpses of it throughout college. Yeah, obviously college does last for 2 years. They've had glimpses of it throughout college, although there are restrictions. But at university, you've not got curfew at uni because everybody accepts that there's a dissertation to do and it's going to take a long time to complete. Yeah, everyone accepts that you might need to go to the library to study. Everybody accepts that you've got numerous classes and this is a higher level of education which requires a higher level of revision and study and, I don't know, networking and whatever. At 18 years old, this is the first time that our Muslim women fully experience the opposite sex. At 18 years old. Now, fast forward to 21. Our Muslim women have, after uni, have got their degrees and are ready to go into the working world, okay? They're thinking, they've had these 3 years of interacting with the opposite sex in university where everyone's similar ages and everyone's still whatever, yeah, university, everyone's kind of the same anyway. And they go into this working world at 21 years old with their degree and their qualification thinking, yes, I'm going to take the world by storm and I'm going to climb this corporate ladder and they're going to take me really, really seriously. And they walk into this world, this law firm or this school or this business or whatever it is at 21 years old thinking, watch, I'm going to try and work really, really, really hard and climb this ladder and everyone's going to take me so seriously and it's just going to be so amazing. And they walk in and all of a sudden they realize that the transactional currency is totally foreign and uncomfortable to them. Would I be wrong in saying that the corporate world, the employment world, is all about interactions, okay? Obviously, you have to be good at your job, but it is all about kissing bum, kissing ass, yeah, to climb the ladder. It's all about being agreeable. It's all about being comfortable around the bosses, around the opposite sex, having these social skills. The boss comes and leans in on your desk and says, oh, well done, come to my office, da-da-da-da-da. Teamwork, can you work on such and such a table with him? Can you work on such and such a table with her? The whole workforce is centered around this. Let's think about like law firms or accounting, or can you stay behind after hours? I need you to take notes for me. We need to work on such and such a project. Very intimate interactions, okay? Very intimate interactions. I'm telling you, the working world is all about getting along with the opposite sex and reading the social cues and climbing the social hierarchy and being available for when people ask you and being comfortable in this and just being agreeable and interacting with girls and guys. That's what the whole thing is based on. It's like uni, the unrestricted part of uni times 1,000. Okay, now our Muslim women walk into a workforce or walk into a place of work, and the normal thing which is expected for them to go and work at a table with Brad or to go and jump in the car with whoever, you and Brad go and sort it out amongst yourselves, okay? So these guys go to the desk and go in the side room and start discussing over the whatever project it is, or reading the data, or discussing the plans, the education plans, or whatever it is, yeah? That one-to-one, intimate, one-on-one kind of thing which they're experiencing, for the Muslim woman, that is illegal, okay? It is a totally foreign, negative experience for her, which she doesn't feel comfortable navigating through. And so our Muslim women walk into this place of work now, and they very quickly realize that some of the tasks that they're being asked to do involve being one-on-one with a man, or involve them working with a group of males, or involve them being alone with the manager, or the manager giving them a certain kind of interview in a one-on-one personal space, or shaking the hands with somebody when they walk in, or all of these things. Our Muslim women walk into this environment and realize that, I'm not actually comfortable doing that. That is actually illegal for me to do. And naturally, they feel like it's a bit weird to tell people it's it's illegal for them, and that oh, I'm sorry, I can't shake your hand, or oh, I'm sorry, I can't really be alone with you, or when you come close to me, I actually move away, or when you lean over me, I actually lean backwards. It feels a bit uncomfortable for them to say it's because I'm Muslim. Yeah, it's because I'm Muslim that I'm not allowed to do this. So what they do is just try and not really say it and navigate through these interactions on an individual basis consistently. And from the outside looking in, it looks like the Muslim woman is not very good at work. She's a bit socially awkward. She's a bit anxious. She's a bit passive. She kind of doesn't take the initiative and jump into projects. She sits at the back of projects. When asked to work with Brad, she kind of tries not to work with Brad and does it by herself. She's not too much of a team player. When I ask her to come in my office and sit down and I lean over and try to show her this, she starts moving away from me. Maybe she's got some kind of like personal problems or been through some trauma or something. Just not very inviting. Really good at work, but not very inviting. And the reason they're perceived like this is because the non-Muslim norm, they have 21 years minimum, because some of these people are 35 when you walk into work. Some of them are 40 when you walk into work. They have a minimum 21 years of experience of interacting like this. And our Muslim women have about 3 years of experience, and call it like 3 to 6 years of experience of interacting fully with the opposite sex. So you guys are 21 years old and we're about 6. And you know, we're smart, so we can read social cues and we can figure out how to navigate through situations. So call us 10, 12, 13, something like that. You guys are 21 years old, minimum. And we're like young teens. Okay? When I say we, I mean Muslim women. Hey. Now let me ask the question, yeah? Have you, any of our Muslim women here, do you have a younger sister or a younger cousin or a younger family friend? Have you ever been with your girlfriends or with like the elder people, say like you're all in 20s or something like that, and the little 15-year-old girl comes to chill with you and she's trying to act dead mature and she thinks she's really mature and she's all got it sorted and dead grown, and you spending time around a 15-year-old are like, these kids, she's a kid. I'm not going to choose to be friends with this person because her value system in this kind of social sense here, she operates like a 15-year-old. Like, she doesn't speak the same language as me. I am arguing, yeah, that to the non-Muslim people in these corporate situations, in these normal workforces, when the Muslim woman enters it, it's like a 15-year-old's just entered the workforce. I don't mean that they're super immature. I mean that the social language and the transactional currency, which is social, they just don't have it. You don't have it because it's illegal and we never learnt it. We never learnt it because we weren't meant to learn it because it's illegal. We're not meant to interact with people like that. We're not meant to mingle like that. We're not meant to climb the ladder in this way. That's not how we socialize. We don't socialize in the same way that you guys socialize. So when this Muslim woman walks into the workplace and the non-Muslim woman look at her and think, she's a bit weird. Yeah, kind of young. I don't really navigate towards her. And she gets like, doesn't really get brought into groups because socially a bit different or a bit standoffish or a bit whatever. Is it not normal for our Muslim women to think it must be because I'm wearing the headscarf? It must be because I'm brown. They don't like me because I'm Muslim. And what I'm saying is it's not always due to the appearance of you having the headscarf or due to you being a Muslim. It's because the things that they are doing, which is totally normal to them, is illegal to us. Okay? So it's illegal to us and we don't know that they don't know what our lived experience is. All we know is that the cheating is a bit weird. All we know is that, when we're trying to talk and socialize and stuff like that, everybody seems to be talking to the people that they can flirt with a bit more, and you can't really flirt with me, so they don't really talk to me. You don't flirt with me because I'm a Muslim, and if you can't flirt with me, then you can't access me, and it's because I'm a Muslim. It's not because I'm a Muslim, although it is because of you're a Muslim, but it's because socially you're just operating on a totally different spectrum to them. Humour me for a second. Have you ever been on a diet or eating healthy? Let's say that you don't eat carbs or you don't eat sugar, and you go and speak to somebody and say, oh, they eat sugar. You're like, oh, yeah, I don't eat sugar, sorry. Do you want some of this? Yeah, no, I don't eat sugar. Oh, sugar's not actually good for you. You know, it does this, so I choose not to eat sugar. When you say to that person that you don't eat sugar, how do they feel? They feel like, oh, I'm doing something bad. You think that I'm doing something wrong. You think you're better than me because you don't eat sugar and I eat sugar. Or if you say, like, for instance, me with my kids, we don't have screen times. I don't give my kids sugar. I don't do certain things. If I say, oh, you let your kids go on screens, we don't let our kids go on screens. The people who let their kids go on screens say, you guys think that we're stupid and we're bad parents. You guys don't let your kids go on screens and we do. So you think that we're worse than you. You think that you guys are better than us. You guys don't eat processed food and we eat processed food. So you think that you're better than us. You guys don't eat sugar and we let our kids eat sugar. So you think that we're bad parents, do you? Do you understand? It is normal for when you see a difference to take it as a criticism of you. It's so difficult to be mature enough to say, oh, well, that's your way of life and this is my way of life. It's so difficult to take somebody's difference in approach just generally and not as an attack on you. So when a Muslim woman's walked into a workplace and she wears a headscarf and she goes, oh, I don't show my hair. Why? Oh, because it's a part of my beauty. No, it's a part of my beauty and I don't show my chest. Why don't you show your cleavage? Because that's my sexual body and I don't want people to see my personal sexual body. Why don't you talk with guys and have oh no, we don't do relationships like that. I don't talk and let people into me. You have to marry me to actually see me or interact with me like that. To the non-Muslim, just normally when you say that to somebody, what do you think they feel? What do you think they feel? Do you not think they think, oh, so I'm showing my hair, so you think that I'm actually a sinner or less of a good person for showing my hair? I've got a low cut top on here and you're saying that this is your modesty and you don't show your personal body, so I'm showing my personal body. So I wonder what she thinks of me then. I don't interact with people. Have to be married in order to access me or see any of my body, and I don't really flirt with people. I've had 2 boyfriends and I'm seeing somebody right now, so what does she think of my relationship? I only get married, that's the only way in is to marriage to me. Oh well, I've got a boyfriend right now, so you're saying that I'm a sinner? You think you're better than me? Is that not a normal thing to think? And is it such a surprise, really, that the person that does think like that, the person that comes in with this whole foreign thing of headscarf and I don't wear this, and obviously you're going to ask somebody, why don't you do that? You're not going to say, oh, it's just my belief system. Well, someone asks you again, well, why do you believe that? Oh, well, we actually believe that because this. Is that not a indirect attack on them? Is it not difficult to take that to not take that as an attack? Well, it is an attack, isn't it? If I don't eat sugars and you do, I'm saying that I don't eat sugar because the sugar's bad for you and you eat it. You're not as good as I am. Yeah, you're not as healthy as I am because I don't eat sugar. I'm covering my hair because that's my personal body. I'm covering my cleavage because that's my personal body. You're showing yours, so you're not as modest as me. Now, we're not saying it with our chest like that, but when you break it down without having like this open approach, when you just go to like the bare essence of what it represents, is that not what it is? Is it not a bit, is you not just standing there like that? Can that not feel like an attack to somebody else? To obviously to the immature person, but can it not just feel like an attack? So then when you're trying to interact with people and people are a bit like, do you know what I mean? A bit standoffish. Is that not kind of understandable? A little bit. Is it not kind of understandable that you may come across socially a little more immature? When I say immature, I don't mean like you're kiddie, like a little, you're not as experienced socially as they are, and what you are could potentially be like an attack on what they are, and they kind of think that you don't really respect them. And could these things not be? Are they not legitimate things to think? I think that's a fair thing. I think it's fair for people who come from a certain upbringing not to necessarily navigate to the person that's from a different type of upbringing to them, and that in turn could lead to some different type of opportunity or different type of comfortability. Like, let's say you're doing an interview with a Muslim woman. Let's say a man does an interview with a Muslim woman, hijabi wearing, practicing Muslim woman, and a man does an interview with just a normal blonde, she doesn't have to be blonde, but a blonde English girl just raised in normal society. And let's say that we're just talking about the social interaction. Could the guy not think after the interview, well, the white girl kind of just gave me a bit more of a positive vibe, and the Muslim girl was good at her job, but it's just a bit awkward to talk to. And I don't know, which based on the fact that she was a bit awkward to talk to, I probably wouldn't want to employ her, because if she's awkward in the interview, how awkward is it going to be when I'm working with her? These are things that I'm saying, yeah. This isn't racism or discrimination. This is like, okay, well, it kind of didn't feel right to me. Yeah, it didn't feel right for me to employ that person. It didn't feel right for me to be friends with that person in the workplace. It didn't feel right for me to offer the promotion to this one because she doesn't really socially speak the correct language. Now, I'm not saying this is correct and that it should be like that. I'm saying, can somebody not understand why that may be the case. When in the workplaces, the majority of workplaces, the currency is social currency. There's a social currency there. Okay. And what you'll find is that when Muslim women tend to get involved in the secret Santas and go to the works do and come to the Christmas party, and I'll come and spend time with you after work, or maybe I'll wear something really formal that hugs my figure a bit more, or maybe I'll relax my headscarf. Or you see the Muslim woman that doesn't wear the hijab, who's a bit more liberal in her approach. You'll see that people seem to be navigating with you, people seem to be interacting with you better. You get better opportunities. Why? Because you speak the same language as me. It's not because you look different, and it's because we speak the same language now. My social needs are being fulfilled here. Yes, she's good at her job, and she's good at her job, but there's something else. There's something else. The je ne sais quoi, which we can't put our finger on, is that maybe you operate like a 15-year-old in a workplace, and I just don't really navigate to 15-year-olds. I want to talk to adults. The reason I'm saying this, like this, is to put an emphasis on the fact that there's a social difference. How do we expect a Muslim woman that is raised like the way I've just explained to you, she's raised like this, and expect her to go into an environment which is illegal for her and feel comfortable, or to go into an office one-on-one with this Brad or whoever it is, and they've got to be alone in a room and it be comfortable for her, or go into this little interview or this little improvement supervision meeting, and the guy's there in the office, and they're in the enclosed space, and he comes and sits next to her, and she's meant to be comfortable with that. Or go into you've got to go and pick up such and such, and you go in the car, and she's meant to sit in the car with this guy, and she's meant to be comfortable with that. How is it possible, that a Muslim woman can feel comfortable with that? It is impossible. It's impossible, that we can feel comfortable with that as Muslim women. I know I'm not a Muslim woman. It's impossible for the Muslim woman to feel comfortable with that. It's illegal for her. It goes against everything she believes in and everything she's raised doing. So, like I just gave the interview example. Is it a prerequisite for a woman, for a Muslim hijabi wearing woman, practicing Muslim woman? Is it a prerequisite that should she go and take an acting degree first? Should she go to drama school so she can pretend that she's really good socially? Is it a prerequisite for her to be a good actor in order to have equal opportunities in a workplace? Obviously not. Would you want someone to act and pretend that they're comfortable with something? Is that how I access the opportunities in the workplace? There are loads of questions around here, but my thing is that there are two sides to this story, okay? And the conversation is actually about lived experience and a missed conversation. We expect Muslims to know what we've been through and how we were raised. And we think that when we go in that environment and say, oh, I can't do that because I'm Muslim, and they know what that means. They don't know what that means. And they see us going to the workplace and think, well, they're a bit weird. They're a bit standoffish. Why am I going to put in the effort in with this girl that's kind of got barriers up and she's really hard to talk to? And every time I try to make a pass socially, because obviously, like I said, in workplace, you tap someone, you nudge people, it's flirty. Why am I going to do that with this girl when she's always just putting up barriers, when I can just talk to this one instead? I'll just go and chill with these guys here. She's a bit weird. She's nice. I'm polite to her, not, but not very approachable. So the non-Muslims are innocently ignorant, right? Because how would you expect a non-Muslim to know how a Muslim is raised if they never saw it or it was never explained to them from the start all the way through? How would you expect that? How do you know that every fabric of their being is illegal to us? How do we expect them to know that and be able to respect our boundaries and our comfort levels? How do we expect people to know that if we never told them? You think at the end of it you can say, oh, I'm Muslim, I don't do that thing, and they know what Muslim is. Nobody knows what Muslim is. Muslim is a lived experience which you have to teach people about. And how do you expect the non-Muslim to be mature enough to take our existence as not as a threat? Where everyone's from different backgrounds now, you better just learn, go and study yourself and learn to respect me, without teaching people. So again, maybe I'm not speaking about it in the best way, but there's a misconversation. Is there not a misconversation? Is there not a misconversation pertaining to personal experience? Now, I did say that I'm going to tell a personal story. Let me tell some personal stories quickly. Now, currently, I oversee Muslim hijabi wearing women in the workplace, okay? And I, as a Muslim manager, make sure that I afford them a certain level of comfortability. So for instance, our job requires people to go and drive and take kids here and do this and do whatever, yeah? I do not put Muslim women alone in a vehicle with a male. ever, because it's haram. Okay, now I know it's haram to them and it's going to be uncomfortable for them, so why would I put them in that situation? I do not ask the Muslim women to go and work in a pair with another male. I put them with a female, obviously, because what kind of Muslim manager would I be to make someone uncomfortable? Say, oh, sorry, you know what, this is the West, you just got to do it. Are you stupid? I'm not going to do that. I make sure that people know about the physical boundaries and the personal boundaries within the workplace. I don't give people later starting times and like cut the hours back and whatever. I don't do that, yeah. But I make sure that the Muslims are afforded the time to pray, even if I have to cover myself. And I make sure that the Muslim women do not have to interact with males on a one-to-one basis, which would compromise their value system. Because what kind of man would I be? What kind of Muslim man would I be to do that? That is inclusion on my part. It doesn't harm anybody else. I make the plans. I make the seating arrangements. I decide the teams. When we're doing trainings, I group the groups. I'm able to afford that to the Muslim woman. But that's simply because I understand what the needs of the Muslim are, or I understand the lived experience. So the Muslim women that I currently manage, if they went to a different workplace, I'm sure that they would feel the difference, okay? They would be like, that's not comfy like when I used to work for Sufyan. He used to go above and beyond to make sure that my religious values are not being compromised, because as a Muslim man, Muslim manager, that's what you should do. And just for the record, I also afford that comfortability to everybody. So for instance, we have certain people, or let's say there are certain people that I have managed who have come to me and said they've got such and such trauma in their background and they don't feel comfortable being alone with a male, or being in a car with certain people, or being in on a one-to-one basis. So I'm not going to put you on that basis. Tell me why somebody has to have been through a trauma. Like if you went to workplaces and somebody went to the boss and said, look, I really don't feel comfortable working one-on-one with male because I've been such and such in the past, or I've just been in this kind of situation. Every single manager would afford that individual person a level of comfort and say, okay, well, we'll make sure that you don't have to do that. And, you know, I'll just accommodate you, make sure that somebody else can come in those settings. You don't have to work one-on-one. I do that for the Muslim woman. So nobody's getting special treatment, but I am making sure that your values are honored. So as I've just mentioned, I actually now in lifetime, I currently manage Muslim hijab wearing women, hijabi women, practicing Muslim women. Check this out. There have been instances, now obviously, there have been instances where these women have come to me and said, I was sad in the classroom because such and such happened, and someone came and gave me a hug. And there's a male that gave me a hug. And I said to the male, whoa, you can't hug me. What you doing? And he said, why? I said, because I'm a Muslim. I said, well, but you look like you needed a hug. You were sad. So I just put my arm around you. And obviously, I've done all my teamwork workshops. I've educated people on this from now, yeah. But that guy does not understand, or never knew, that after the hug, that Muslim woman could go home and actually feel traumatized from the hug. It's the first man that's ever touched her, and something really, really haram has just happened in the workplace. Other Muslim women that I manage, currently or not currently, I'm not trying to hot people up, because obviously I know some people I work with watch the videos. It's kind of hard to open anyway. So I said, oh, such and such grabs my face to play with me, and, you know, gives me a little poke in my stomach, like a little pinch and poke him, just like they do with the other girls, and everyone's really touchy, but they're actually violating my personal boundaries. Now look, you can argue like, is that not sexual harassment? You shouldn't be touching women anyway, which I agree with. But culturally, it's just normal for a guy to say, oh, come on, work a bit harder, or look at you slacking there, and poke them. They don't know that that woman's never been physically touched in their life ever, and that it is illegal for them to be touched and allow another man to touch them, and that when they have actually touched them, these women have gone home and had breakdowns and been traumatized, and actually coming back into the environment thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to navigate in this situation? What about if they touch me again? And people don't understand that the Muslim women in these work settings are experiencing high levels of anxiety and trauma, because the expectation is for them to transgress their religious beliefs, their core beliefs. The expectation is that you go into the workplace and you touch people and let people touch you, and you let them flirt with you, and you let them lean over you, and you let them do this, and they're trying to navigate through that without saying to everybody, I'm a Muslim, stop doing it, it's weird. And you want to shout out and say, it's weird, just leave me alone, don't do this, just let me work without you touching me, just let me work with... They don't want to sound weird, so they just navigate through it with extreme levels of anxiety and extreme levels of like trauma going on in the background, and tiptoeing, and then being aggressive, and then standoffish, and not... People don't understand this. Yeah, people don't understand this, and these are live things that are happening now, which obviously me as a Muslim manager, I'm able to manage and protect the Muslim women and women in general, or whoever that I work with, and it's something that I enjoy doing because because I'm a protector. See, the thing is, if people don't know, they don't know. You can't expect somebody to act in accordance with something that they are unaware of. So they need to be educated. People need to be educated on what the lived experience is and what my comfort levels are and what transgresses my boundaries, and people need to be educated on these things. So there is another conversation to have off the back of this conversation, which is how the differences, or the social differences, or Muslim women being perceived as being socially behind their counterparts, how that pertains or how that affects women in relationships, Muslim women in relationships. And I will speak about this in another video, because I think that basically it's easy for Muslim men to sin and transgress these boundaries. We're just a lot more comfortable doing it, which is not a good thing. And our women are the ones that are standing up and honoring these values. And I do believe that men and women have different tests, but there's a conversation to have around how it affects relationships. I know a lot of people in the last video commented about women being naive in relationships and not really being socially aware of how guys functions, and there was a conversation about the wali and should we have a different type of wali, and that people that have some kind of lived experience of how people like when I look at a guy, I know for guys on some nonsense, I know for guys smashing girls, I know for guys smoking on the side, I know for guys a player, and women don't know that because they've had no experience of this. They're just walking into working worlds very naive because they're Muslim women who obviously have been honoring their religion. So there is another conversation to have that, and we will have it next video, inshallah, or the one afterwards. I hope I can edit this down and make sense of the video, because I did ramble on for a little bit about some things. But basically, my conversation is I would like people to address the lived experience aspect of Muslim women's upbringings. And then, yes, there is a conversation. I feel like people should be having this conversation in the workplace. People should be having this conversation like on corporate levels. I feel like people should educate other people about what the Muslim woman's lived experience is. And obviously it would be a lot more powerful coming from a Muslim woman than it is for me. So if anybody wants to kind of remix this video, or people want to use this as a basis, or even just bring up the conversation and do it to a higher level, you can do that yourself. Feel free. I would love that to happen, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen because the world has changed, and it just so happens that whatever the value is, the transactional value in the working world is illegal for Muslim women. It's illegal for Muslims. It's easier for the men, but that's a different conversation. But it totally transgresses our religious beliefs, and we can't really progress that much unless we compromise. And never ever compromise your religion. I also want to say just quickly, as a finishing point, that it is a bit disingenuous for me to say that Muslim women are socially behind. Now, I obviously am a Muslim, and I believe that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with the message to fix everything, to fix all societies. Okay, and I would argue that the working world or society today is very similar to how it was pre-Islam, especially in that part of the world. That part of the world is kind of like how it is here now. And the Prophet ﷺ and Islam came to correct that. So to describe Muslim women as being socially behind is disingenuous and actually inaccurate, because my obviously personal take is that Islam is the way, and everything has been fixed. So Muslim women who are honoring that, you're not socially behind. I would argue that you're actually socially ahead, because Islam, baby. Islam, baby. And I just want to say, look, I understand Muslim women, that you guys go through a lot. Like I said, I do believe that Muslim men and Muslim women sin in different ways. I just think men and women, we have different tests. We're chemically different. The way we sin allows us to access that type of world a lot easier. Your tests are different tests, our tests are different tests, but it's a beautiful thing that although there is a lot of anxiety and there are a lot of difficulties and you guys being discriminated against, you guys are holding it down and you guys are doing a massive job. So an amazing job of sticking to your deen and not transgressing certain things just for boobies and breasts and bums and everything like that, if you know what I'm talking about. Your tests are different to our tests. You're not socially behind, and you make Islam proud. I wish I had a finishing poetic line. You are the the flower which withstood the storm or something like that. But you know, make something romantic about it. I don't want the Muslim women watching to take this as a critique of them. My conversation was more around that there is a misconversation. Anyway, solutions, have these conversations in the workplace. Somebody do something about it. But that is the video. Inshallah, we'll discuss some more next week. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.